it's Peter Camsman and Jack from BAM, and we are at Dawlish railway station today, and Jack's going to show us around the platforms and what they're doing for the upgrade. Right then, mate, so what's happening this weekend?
So we're on weekend 2 of our 4th weekend abnormal closure. So the railway line is closed for the full weekend, roughly from about 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning through until about probably 2 o'clock on Monday morning.
Okay.
Roughly the same times every weekend. So last weekend we started the first abnormal possession. We completed 50 metres of platform renewals on both sides, which we'll run you through in a moment. As you can see, we've got the car park all fenced off for the full weekend closure, so we've got a gateman down on there kind of managing the traffic and marshalling people through so they can still get through to the ticket machines.
Yeah.
First thing we'll come on to is the vacuum excavator. So like I mentioned in the previous video that we did, the trench which is in the floor here, there's some ducting which goes within the trench. That's for the new lighting column bases, to feed into the lighting column bases, the CCTV posts, and also the public announcement speakers which are going in.
Yeah.
So you can see here the vacuum excavator. It's essentially just a big hoover on the back of a machine, really. So they break off all the tarmac on the surface between the saw cut lines which we've done, which is what you can see the 3-ton excavator in the background doing over there at the moment. And then the excavator comes along then and it sucks all the material out of the hole. Probably not going to be able to do a bit of talking over this as we approach it because it is quite a noisy operation.
Yeah.
But I'll take you down there and just show you a bit of footage. It's all controlled by a remote. The guy that you can see there, he has the remote control in his hand, and it's all operated by the arm on the back of the excavator. He just comes along and sucks up all the material out of the ground. It's a very safe way of excavation. So as you can see, we've got existing cables which are in the platform.
Right.
And obviously, if we were excavating through there with the machine, there's a risk of damaging those cables.
Ah, right, okay.
So the vacuum excavator sucks the material out rather than excavates. If you do come into any hard spots, we do have a compressor and an air lance, and we put the air lance into the ground, which kind of frees up all the material. Any rigid spots like the concrete that you see in the background, they need to be broken out by the excavator still.
Yeah. Amazing, clever stuff, mate.
Very, very clever stuff. You can see the guys here, where they're breaking through now. You can see obviously old bits of rail which have been left in the wall and everything.
Wow.
So
from years ago.
Yeah. You end up covering the whole array of kind of old materials which have kind of been buried in the platform.
Amazing.
We found a big a redundant manhole in the platform last weekend, which we had to put a new manhole cover over. And there was just one of the existing copers being used as a lintel over the top of it. So you can see the guys here breaking through the existing concrete. I think we're somewhere up around where the old signal box used to be.
Yeah, that's around there, yeah.
Yeah, we're approaching into that area now through there, so we have found the old foundations for that as we've been excavating through. So in total, throughout this platform, we've got roughly about 200 metres to do. We've done about 130 metres of that already.
Yeah.
By the end of this weekend, we should be fully done with the duct run. And prior to us completing this weekend, we will resurface the whole of this platform so that it's opened back up for the public in the week as to try and start running. So every so often you see like an entry point coming out of the duct run. That's for the new lighting column bases.
Okay.
We've excavated out for those up here, and we're due to concrete those at about 2 o'clock in the morning. So we've got the concrete pump coming back in.
Okay.
And we've got the rapid setting concrete.
So how many people you got on site today helping with this?
So between the 2 shifts over the weekend, there's about probably 90 people working.
Okay.
And then on the last shift, which is the surfacing shift, there's probably an extra 20 people organised for that throughout the surfing.
All hands on deck
company,
then.
Yeah. So they're just for the lighting column bases. So you see the pipe work stuck up out of it. That'll connect into the duct run.
Yeah.
And then we'll run the cabling through the duct run after that's completed then. So we got the 2 RRVs in the background there. That's predominantly how we're supplying all of the works with all our materials throughout the blockade. So everything's loaded on at the access gate at the end. I'll just take you down and show you now.
Yeah. Okay. So it comes from here, doesn't? You don't pick it up
What's
from
that hole?
Dawlish Warren.
No, we don't pick anything up from Dawlish Warren, everything's brought down here. So all of the backfill material, which you can see on the left-hand side here now, everything's stacked out in the week. The new oversail blocks over that on the left-hand side there as well, and all of the copers at the top end. So the RRV's road rail vehicle is essentially an excavator mounted on track. They get on at Dawlish Warren at road rail access point. So that's just kind of a matted section across the line where it allows the machine to drive over, access onto the rail. And then once it's on the rail, it drops down this dollies, which you can see where the excavator sat on now. Yeah. And the dollies go down then and they lift the machine up and then allow it to run on the rails.
Oh, wow.
So we've got 2 RRVs on. That's about I think about a 25-ton machine roughly. And then we've got 2 trailers on each. The back trailer's got a ballast box on, so we can load stone up into there. We stripped out all the old timber platform. That's all in the box as well. And he's just removing all of the timber work out of there now and putting it into the skip, and we're transporting that away. Right, okay. So he's got that's called a clamshell attachment on there at the moment. We use the same attachment for picking up all of the surfacing and dropping all of the surfacing into the platforms as well. So it picks the tarmac up with this kind of grip, drops it into the area, and then we level it out and then surface over the new platform.
Clever stuff.
So he'll be on his way back down in a minute, probably as we're walking through this video, so we can get a bit of footage of him completing the removal of the platforms and dropping some more of the backfill material in there. I think this is the first video we've done in the rain.
Yeah, we've been quite lucky, to be fair.
I know, yeah. On this shift, roughly about 40 people with the staff and the engineering resource.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have 3 engineers, 2 foremen overseeing the works. We have to have safety critical staff. They're called COSers. They maintain access on and off the railway. So before we start this video, you had your briefing off the COS. Yeah. And that's how we get on and off track, and he's responsible for handing back the track safely to what's called the engineering supervisor, which is responsible for the whole section of this railway line when we take possession of it.
Okay.
Right, so the guys in the background here are laying oversail blocks through this section now. Yeah. They're required everywhere where the copers exceed the maximum permissible overhang, which the precast supplier tells us at the start of the works.
Right, okay.
So on this, the copers can overhang roughly 250 mil off the existing wall. If they exceed that, oversail blocks are required.
Right, okay.
So oversail blocks on this platform, they only go down to this extent here. As you can see, the opposite platform, that's already got oversail blocks installed, so we haven't, where we've done the surfacing works last weekend and the coper installation, we haven't put any oversail blocks in there because we've just relayed on top of the existing. The guys are breaking out through there now because, as you can see, the profile of the brickwork changes roughly from where the machine sat now. We've saw cut that in the previous possessions. We take off all that brickwork, all the existing coper, and then we lay our oversail blocks on that platform again now, and then we continue laying the copers through there. So we're going to be surfacing and we're going to be renewing the platform on that side up to where we've removed the timber to up the end up there. Yeah. Which we can go and get a closer look at in a moment. I'll probably walk you down this platform first. We can have a look at the work which we did last weekend.
Okay.
Just coming through. So they screed in front, they level off the sand and they level off the material. We've put an extra course of bricks in and then they drop the oversail block in. Oversail blocks are roughly 220 mm in dimension, so over the 50 metres. We've got approximately 200 to install, just a little bit more on the opposite platform in this section. We've got 20 metres to install, so roughly about 80 oversail blocks on this side. They're lifted in with the hooks that are cast in the pre-casting process, and then obviously the guy just hammer it down to level now.
Wow.
So after the oversail block's installed, we'll then concentrate on breaking out all this existing surfacing. What we're going to be doing is cutting back the tarmac, probably about 2 or 3 metres from this line, and then relaying all the tarmac through this section.
Okay, so this section we're looking at now, this is what you've done last weekend. This is all new, is it?
It is, yeah. So all this is new. The yellow line, which you can see at the moment, that's only a temporary yellow line. We do have to put a thermoplastic yellow line down, which is like a hot material. Yeah. That was just spray painted on last weekend just to get the platforms back open.
Yeah.
You can see the zone markers. That's obviously where people access on different sections of the carriage as the trains come in. You can see the guys down here now, they're just pointing up the front of the oversails, what we did last weekend, and making good of everything through there.
Okay.
So as part of the upgrade works, there's all new manholes which have gone in. The manholes which were here before, they were all corroded shut, so you could never actually get in to install, to service or maintain any of the ducting.
Okay.
When we haven't done the ramps yet, so when we've finished, there'll be a new end of platform fencing to go in at the end. So all of the old kind of gating which you see down here, that comes off.
Okay. Right.
We'll saw cut just this side of this signpost that you see here, break out the tarmac, install the gate, and then redo the ramps down through
so
here.
the gate's going to be higher here, is it?
There'll be probably a 2 metre gate on the end of the platform here.
Okay.
So you can see the old Barrow crossing now.
Yeah.
Probably never really walked over this, have you?
No, I haven't. I don't think. No.
So this is currently how members of the public with reduced mobility access over the track. There's no disabled lifts in this platform.
No.
Or there's no elevators, things like that. So the only way to get over here is by that Barrow crossing there. That Barrow crossing will come out eventually when we've completed the installation of the new footbridge, which is currently, we're trying to get it planned in for Christmas 2022, so this year.
Okay, cool.
But that could move depending on design decisions and going through planning and things like that. Again, so you see the platform renewals that we've done through here.
Yeah, see all the drainage as well, that's good.
Yeah, so that was what the guys were, on the last video, that was what the guys were prepping up.
Yeah.
So as all the kind of rainfall drops onto the platform, it'll go across this cross gradient that we formed in the tarmac, and then down into the drainage system. As we're walking up now, we'll start entering into the restricted zone, which is where we've got the exclusion zone set off for lifting and all the access, etc.
Okay.
So I'll just make the machine driver aware that we're coming. Hi mate.
You're right. Yeah, good time, mate.
So over there is that will be the new control cubicle for all the lighting, the public announcement speakers, etc. You can see all the ducting coming in and out of the pit there. There's quite a lot of quite a lot of ducting which feeds into it, and that will run all the new cabling through. So that's what the guys are just currently on with. They're breaking out for the duct run through here, installing all the ducts and starting to backfill behind this platform. So all of this was where the timber section used to be. They broke that out on the last shift.
Yeah.
Because of the RRV coming down now. He's going to start removing all of the existing copers and the oversail blocks, load them into the bin on the back, and then we take them to our auxiliary compound on Timothy Road, 1 Elsfield we call it.
Yeah.
Good? Yeah.
Cheers.
So you can see where they're starting to backfill through. Once all the backfill stone's in, we'll run the compaction plant over it and make sure it's all compacted so it doesn't settle when we lay the surfacing over it, and you don't end up with any kind of any deformation in the surfacing once it's laid. This machine now, he's bringing bags of material down. He loads that over with the RRV, drops it in, and they just cut the bottom of the bag and drop all the type. It's called Type 1, this material.
Yeah.
Drop all the Type 1 into the hole. Just jump through before they start that. So we're stood down in where the timber platform used to be now.
Yeah.
They stripped this out at the start of last shift, and we're continuing to strip out this shift. We've just got the main beam at the back now, which has been concreted in as we've come through on the previous weekends. The new bases which you see in here, they're for lighting columns, and that's why the 50mm ducts look out the side of it.
Yeah.
On top of here, where we've got pits marked out, that will be where the new service chambers are. Temporarily on this side, we'll be forming a concrete nib so we can surface up against it, and get the platform back open. So once we've stripped the timber out, put some shuttering up through here, and then we cast a concrete nib, and then we'll surface up to the edge of that until we install the footbridge, and then once we've installed the footbridge and the lift shaft, etc., we'll break the surface and back off around this area, and then resurface everything into the new gradients and the new crossfalls.
Wow. So this, where I'm stood again, would have been the old footpath beneath, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So under the platform.
Probably about 3 or 4 metres down from here, where we are now. Mike. So you can see the old timber work which still remains up here. We're not going to be touching any of that this weekend. You can see the catch pits which we installed as part of the previous phase, and all the drainage runs which go through the water to pick up on the track drainage.
Yeah.
All this stays until next weekend, and then we'll do the same again. We'll strip this section out and then relay the relay concrete and all the Type 1 through this area then.
Wow, amazing work.
Big old void.
Yeah.
So in roughly 24 hours, this whole area will be backfilled. All of the copers that you see on the right hand side will be off. The new oversail blocks will be installed, and the train, the platform will near enough be ready for final surfacing, and then the trains will be operational back on Monday morning again then. So it's very time critical, all of this work, hence the level of resource required.
Absolutely, yeah, it's really, really impressive, Jack.
The line that you see on the left hand side, that's where we'll be surfacing up to, so the new level, that which goes down the units. And then once we have finished all of the platform, there's a stone facing to go on the front of these units. So like very similar to what we did down on Marine Parade along the back of the wall there. This will be all. This will have a complete stone facade right the way down the back of here. So we're using a natural limestone. I was going to say granite then, but the granite's used on the seawall or the pavings. So it'll be a limestone cladding which goes on the front of here.
Right. Okay. Wow.
So down on the seawall.
So no one working here at the minute?
Not over the weekends, in the week, yes. So the same resource which are on the platforms at the moment, they are the Tidal resource.
Yeah.
So all the lads which you've seen up on the platforms, they'll go back onto the Tidal Works midweek. At the moment, we've completed the channel diversion, which we can have a little bit of a look through on that. Kind of forgot about that a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, just walked straight past it.
So we've had the FRAP consent back through from the Environmental Agency.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday next week, we are looking at diverting the Dawlish water over into this proposed alignment for the short term, so we can build all the permanent works over that side.
Yeah. And how are you accessing that side?
So it's all tidal, wait till the tide goes out.
So you're going to have to go out that way, okay.
And then around the front here.
Yeah.
So all of the water, all of the channel is pretty much built. We just need to cut in the opening up the top there now, and then once we've cut the opening up, we'll start putting the protection in across the existing channel, and that'll divert the water through the new. We've also started the piling works in section B. So that's the little rig you see behind here now, the orange rig.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we're augering down roughly, probably about 16 metres into the ground. And the cages which you see on the left-hand side of us here, they get dropped in, and that's the reinforcement for the pile.
Okay. Can we go around there?
Yeah. Nobody down here, so all the machines are stationary. So the mats which you see on here, that's the temporary works required for tracking the rig onto our piling platform, or the refuge which we've stood on.
Yeah.
And the two auger casings that you see there, they are drilled piles which are roughly down to probably, I think 9 or 10 metres now.
Well, these go down 9-10 metres?
At the as it is now, yeah.
Wow. Hello. Impressive.
Section C, we're progressing very well with that.
Wow, yeah, this is a lot higher than... It was only last week, wasn't it, I visited? Was it last week?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, not last week, week before.
Week before, yeah.
So we're progressing with that. Drainage matting's up against the station building.
Yeah.
And then you can see we've started to install the new catch pits. We have to strap them down because when we pour the concrete around them, they lift in the concrete.
Yeah.
So we strap them down, secure them into position, pour the concrete, set the concrete at the bottom and pour the concrete around them. And then once they're secured, we infill the rest of it then. So our plan is to get up to the top of facing panels probably round about by the 20th of February.
Okay.
So we've got 49 cube of concrete booked on for every shift next week in the week, which will fill this area up quite nicely. You can see on the right hand side through this section, the guys have started to remove the facing panel brackets, which were the temporary brackets just holding the panel in position while we were pouring all the concrete up behind it. So they stripped this section out down to here, and you can see the existing brackets still in over there. As we work through now pouring the concrete, those will get stripped out.
Okay. Good work. Right, Jack, well, thank you very much for that. I shall let you get back to work. Thanks for taking the time to do this again, and for a very informative video.
No worries.
And what time are you on shift till?
2 in the morning. So 2 till 2 today, a nice 12-hour shift.
Wow.